time of year again. College basketball is back here this fall at Williams Arena. We've got exhibition action coming up between Concordia St. Paul, they're the Golden Bears, and the Minnesota Golden Gophers, ranked 15th in the country. Good to have you all with us. With Jake Bringold, my name is Ryan Russell. Zach Marin is with us as well, and we go to him in just a little bit. Jake, it is a Twin Cities matchup between Concordia St. Paul, who is a Division II team, and the Minnesota Gophers, ranked 15th and from the Big Ten. Should be a very exciting season for the Gophers coming up.
Well, there's a lot to be looking forward to if you're a Minnesota fan. They're returning 5 players. Key players are Dupuis McBrayer, led the team in three-point shooting. Nate Mason was an all Big Ten first team. Jordan Murphy was 4th in the Big Ten in rebounds a year ago. You also have Amir Coffey, Reggie Lynch, and then you have Isaiah Washington, Jamir Harris coming in as freshmen. Isaiah Washington, Mr. New York basketball last year, so there's a lot for a fan to be looking forward to here in Minnesota.
Very good. I said we've got Zach Marin with us too. He's our sideline reporter. Zach, what's going on?
Hey guys, so Minnesota sophomore forward Eric Curry suffered a significant left knee injury prior to the start of this season, tearing both his MCL and ACL during a pickup game in the offseason. Now that might generate a big issue for the Gophers, especially at depth at front court, even with Reggie Lynch and Jordan Murphy coming in foul trouble. But luckily for them, these exhibition games are going to be a great opportunity to find that next man up to solidify the role that Eric Curry would have had this season. Ryan?
Thank you very much, Zach Marin. We've got, again, Concordia St. Paul and Minnesota coming up. Jake, Concordia, Division II team, a lot of the players on this team are Gophers fans. It's how they grew up around this area. It's a huge opportunity for them to come in here and play such a good D1 program.
Well, I mean, this is one of the best places to play in college basketball. And regardless if Minnesota is ranked or not, this is such good experience for these players to come in and prepare them for their regular season. You know, last year they didn't have the best year in the Northern Sun Conference. You know, they went 6-25, 2-20 in conference play. That was dead last in the conference. So this is a good confidence booster for them to build them and prepare them for the season that is in front of them.
Well, very good. Set to go in Minnesota. Reggie Lynch will be on the tip for him. Cody Carlson on the other side, and Lynch comes up with it easily. Reggie Lynch, watch for him, the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year last year, 6'10", 260 pounds, right up front.
And he had a staggering 114 blocks last year, set a program record for blocks in a season.
Jordan Murphy pushing one in, and the Gophers take an early lead.
Just an easy finger roll right inside the paint. When we've seen Jordan Murphy do this a lot last season and his season before, it's something he does really well, getting inside the paint, using his body, and laying it in.
Dupuis McBrayer gets in the way of Carlson and takes the ball back. So for the Gophers starting, Dupuis McBrayer, Nate Mason, Jordan Murphy, Amir Coffey, and Reggie Lynch. And there is Lynch for the second basket today for Minnesota.
See Nate Mason kind of taking an errant shot underneath, but Reggie Lynch right there, easy putback.
Carlson once again in the middle. And they go out to Ward, brings it in and runs into Lynch. The foul is called. For Concordia, Avon Ward, the sophomore, starts. Ahmad Newsome, he's their point guard. Evan Wiesenberg, Brendan Matthews, and Cody Carlson, the other three starting. A very nice-sized crowd in here as well today for an exhibition game.
Well, we were just talking about this, you know, right before the game. Even the student section has a lot, is quite full. And usually in these exhibition games, you know, it doesn't necessarily count. You play some.
Oh, and Murphy
I gotta
rejects
stop there.
Carlson.
Oh, man. But what a block there by Murphy. But anyway, I was saying that, you know, the student section is pretty full for an exhibition game. You usually don't see a huge showing for these games. You know, you're usually playing Division II opponents, but it is a great time for these players to get exposure. And there's a lot of people here for an exhibition, just showing that I think they're going to have a great crowd this season.
6 on the clock. It is Matthews in. Back out to Ward for 3, and this one does not fall. So the Gophers certainly showing already they've got the size advantage. Murphy tipping it into the hands of Mason. And McBrayer, he's good for 3.
Well, like I said in the pregame, you know, he led this team in three-point shooting last year, over 40%, and showing his skill from beyond the arc on that shot.
First shot of the day sinking for Concordia St. Paul, Ahmad Newsome. Talked with Joey James, their fourth season head coach, yesterday. Said Newsome not really a scorer, a true point guard as he described him. The blocking call against Concordia as Lynch tried to go up.
Yeah, it'll be the first personal foul for the Golden Bears today. Easy call, a little too aggressive and too much contact on Lynch, and he's kind of a hard player to guard inside. You almost need a foul when you have a size advantage. You know, you look at Ward is just so much smaller compared to Lynch. It's so hard for those smaller guards to try to take on some of these bigger players like Lynch without fouling.
Here's Amir Coffey. His sophomore season was looking for Lynch and ran right into Weisenberg.
That was a good play by Weisenberg to move inside on Lynch and cut off that passing lane. You know, he's much smaller than Lynch, 215, 6'6", 215. Lynch 6'10", 260.
So now it's a foul on Carlson, and this is something that Joey James said he wanted his team to do well with today, is stay out of foul trouble.
Well, it's early in the game. You already have 2 fouls, especially if you're going to come out here with some miraculous win. That's the one thing you're going to need to cut back on is fouls, because Minnesota is fairly good at the free throw line, and the fouls will come back to get you at the end of the game.
So Murphy puts down 2. Junior year from San Antonio. All Big Ten third team last season. Remember, this game is entirely exhibition. Will not go down on either team's record. Kind of an unfair advantage for the Gophers. Division I, of course. And Newsome is called for traveling. So 9-2 Minnesota, 2.5 minutes in. 2 turnovers already against Concordia. They, again, are right here in St. Paul, Minnesota, so not a very long drive on their way out, as Murphy couldn't get one to shoot from, or to drop from 3. It is Brendan Matthews.
Yeah, he got an open look right on the left, on that left wing, and hit the shot. It would be a traveling now against Minnesota.
Dupree McBrayer called for the travel. You see number 1 right there. He's from New York City, also from New York. Isaiah Washington, who we will hear about later on today. Currently starting on the bench. We'll see if he moves into a starting spot by the end of the season.
I can't see why he wouldn't move into a starting role on this Gopher basketball team. Although their guard depth is amazing.
That's their strength for sure.
He was New York's Mr. Basketball in that state of New York, so very talented athlete for a freshman.
Amir Coffey has it stripped away by Ward. Just goes out of bounds, no foul called. Now Mason.
Nate Mason showing his talent there, led the team in scoring as one of the veterans on this Minnesota team. Sinking a nice pull-up jumper.
Elliott Kane now into the game, out to Matthews. Coffey moving quickly for Minnesota, all on his own, and Lynch is able to drop it right in.
And Lynch is such a great asset to this team. You know, he's so tall, he can get the putback. He can beat out a lot of those players. And granted, Concordia, you know, is smaller. They're, you know, Division II, but he's able to do that even against some bigger opponents, and we saw that last year in the Big Ten.
Carlson couldn't hit the 3. They go to Coffey again. Mason pulling up, and Mason's shot is good with the foul called too.
Yeah, he's a senior. I mean, he does these so well, but pulls up the jumper with the foul.
Minnesota is up by 10. Back in just a moment. Well, there's Reggie Lynch, the 2016-17 Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. Started his career at Illinois State after going to Edina High School, real close to the cities. We think this year he may be able to put up 10 to 12 per game too. There's Mason at the line, dropping in the and one, and the Gophers lead by 11. Jake, your thoughts on how this has gone so far for them?
Well, I mean, it's no surprise that we've seen the score as the way it is. Minnesota is a lot bigger than Concordia St. Paul, and their size is really showing their size advantage, getting underneath the basket, getting putbacks. And Minnesota is doing a lot better job on getting the rebounds. You know, Minnesota's out rebounding the Golden Bears already 7-2, and that just goes by the size with Jordan Murphy and Reggie Lynch underneath. They're able to get a lot of second chance points.
Nate Mason now with the ball. Into Murphy, taking it on his own. And a foul called as he tried to do that little finger roll in we've seen so far today.
Yeah, Jordan Murphy showing his strength, just moving right around that Concordia defender underneath, getting the lane to the basket, but unfortunately can't finish, but he is fouled, has a chance to get those 2 points at the line.
First one's good for Murphy. Reggie Lynch subs out for Bakari Konate. Lynch with 3 rebounds so far today too, and this is an exhibition game, so we'll expect to see a lot of Konate and a lot of the players that'll be coming off the bench this year.
Well, that's no surprise too, because they're going to need to find somebody to fill in for them if they do get in a foul trouble, because they are. It's just part of basketball, and especially without Eric Curry.
Murphy with another block.
As I was saying, without Curry, they're going to need to find somebody to step up into that role.
Mason falls to the ground as we've got Newsome. He's the one that lost a shoe. The question here for Concordia today too, and this is straight from Joey James. He doesn't know yet if he wants his team playing in the 60s or the 90s here this year. He doesn't know what kind of speed they can play at while still keeping a clean slate and not turning over the ball. That's kind of what he's experimenting on today.
Well, this is a good game to experiment. You know, not only is it an exhibition game, but you're playing against the University of Minnesota at Williams Arena. They're 15th in the country in Division I. This is a game where you can try things and see if it works. Because if it works against the Gophers, it can work against a lot of your Division II opponents in the Northern Sun Conference.
That was Matthews with the shot moments ago. Now Murphy spins, puts it up. Murphy's got 8 points this evening.
Makes it look so easy. He moves in on Max Keefe, who's, you know, one of the bigger players on this Concordia team, and steps back and pulls up the jumper, and it goes in.
Matthews has 5, leading his team, 5 of the 7 they've had. And now Elliott Kane misses. Nate Mason with the shot. Over the last 3 minutes, a 13-2 run for Minnesota as timeout is called.
Nate Mason just easily breaking into the lane there and expanding this game out to 17 points. He just looked like he had no struggle moving up and kissing it off the glass. Take moments ago at this pull-up jumper. Moves back, just working Keefe, and finds the shot. And I mean, he makes it look easy, but that's really a tough shot when you're turning around and jumping back. You can lose your perception of the basket, but Murphy made that look simple, and it goes in, nothing but net.
I'm excited to see the physicality the Gophers can show this year too. Before this game, as we were watching warm-ups, you commented on this, Jake, our producer Ryan did as well. These Gophers look bulked up this year too. They've spent some time in the weight room.
Oh yeah, I mean, you look at even someone like Bakari Konate, You know, he definitely looks a lot bigger. He's 6'11", 235. and that's, they need that, another person to fill in that role that needs to come off the bench for Reggie Lynch or Jordan Murphy, especially Eric Curry out. He usually would come in for them. You got a guy named Devontae Fitzgerald, 6'8", 220. He's adding some size to this team. I'm interested and curious to see how he will play this year. He hasn't played since 2014, the 2014-15 season, but he brings a lot of potential with his size. But again, back to that point, is this team has a lot of size to it, and I think people are really curious and are optimistic about this team this year. And I think the questionable side for this Gopher team is their forwards and that depth. And they definitely do have some good big forwards, but it depends on how long these forwards will stay in the game and how their depth is going to come into a play during this season.
Now it's Murphy on the near side for Minnesota. Amir Coffey, the sophomore. He'll get another attempt. Gets his second.
That's how you stay with the ball and stay with the play. He followed his rebound, stayed under the basket, and got to the ball first. An easy putback there by Amir Coffey, getting his first points of the day.
Carlson for three. Rolls it over. 12.5 left in this opening half. Amir Coffey.
Amir Coffey breaks through some contact on a couple players, and it looks like he almost threw the ball at the backboard, but it still went in.
Matthews could not connect with Carlson, so he turned around. So Devontae Fitzgerald checks in for Minnesota. Long time awaiting this, finally, Gophers' debut for him.
Yeah, what's crazy is 2 years ago he sat out due to the NCAA transfer rules when he came here from Texas A&M. And he unfortunately tore his ACL a month before last year, before the last season started, kind of like what happened with Eric Curry. So he was looking forward to get a start, and he gets his first points.
Well, unofficial points, of
Unofficial. But still, it's something.
Also in the game now, Isaiah Washington, who again, I said we'll talk a little bit about him later on. Here's a hint, 400,000 Instagram followers. Apparently that's really impressive.
Apparently it's like top 5 or top 3 most followed college collegiate athletes or something, but that's impressive. You have that much of following is a great brand along with him that he brought to Minnesota.
So Washington will go to the line, but not before a break. It is 30-9 Gophers against Concordia St. Paul. Gophers lead by 21 over Concordia St. Paul on their home court. Richard Patino, the head coach of this program, has brought in some really good recruits this year. Notably, Isaiah Washington is in that crowd. Washington, the freshman from Harlem. So stayed in New York City for basketball for high school. And as we mentioned, 400,000 Instagram followers. That's 400,000 more than I've got. And the Gopher fans very excited to see what he can do.
I mean, this guy comes in, I think, one of the highest rated recruits, I think, in Minnesota history, and this basketball team. Among some of the greatest basketball players that have stepped on the floor at Williams Arena. But, you know,
he's the Jelly Fam founder.
Jelly Fam, which is apparently...
It's like his personal brand.
It's his personal brand because he has a shot called the Jelly Shot or something in that.
We'll see it here.
Yeah.
Not now, but in a little bit.
And I guess the fans that kind of follow him are part of this group called the Jelly Fam.
It's incredible, really, the personal brand that he brings to this program. There's a lot of people, I'm sure, in this crowd right now that have come to see what the founder of Jelly Fam can do.
Well, I mean, I think he's going to do more than just bring this brand to this program. You know, he was a number-rated point guard in the state of New York. Obviously, was Mr. New York basketball. He was also ranked 13th nationally amongst all players, according to Scout.com, and he's going to bring in so much talent. He's only a freshman, and I can't wait. And I think a lot of Minnesota fans and general college basketball fans are excited to see what he can offer here at the University of Minnesota.
Carlson from about the free throw line. Still looking for his first points today. Now Hurt for three and cannot sink it. That is Michael Hurt from Rochester, Minnesota. Mason comes away. Hurt's pass to Mason, just a bit up. Hurt is a sophomore. Now Devontae Fitzgerald. Nearly had one. And Hurt gets fouled on the second effort.
Well, Fitzgerald doesn't get the friendly roll, but Hurt is right under there, using his body, using a little bit of his size to get the ball up, and he does get fouled. And he'll be going to the line to try to get his first points of the day.
Michael Hurt from John Marshall High School. So 2 years ago, the runner-up for Minnesota Mr. Basketball, behind his teammate Amir Coffey.
This shows the talent. I remember we talked about this last year, and just the freshman class they brought up last year with Amir Coffey, Eric Curry, and then Michael Hurt, getting the Minnesota Mr. Basketball, and then the runner-up. That's just great skill, such a great roster you're building here at Minnesota, and it's just Pitino's continuing that trend of good recruiting into this year and the future years as well.
That was Jamir Harris with the foul for the Gophers. Oh no, now he's in the game, I beg your pardon. It was Fitzgerald with the foul. But Harris is now in his debut. Here's Washington on the move. To Fitzgerald. Nearly got through traffic and got fouled on its way.
Well, Fitzgerald showing a little bit of his defensive skill, tipping that pass, getting it back, using his speed and size to get inside. He has some agility, too. Got all the way to the basket, but was fouled. He'll be going to the line for the first time today.
Fitzgerald misses his first shot. Cannot get that one to roll in either. It is now Kane up to Carlson. And Carlson, he's now got his first points today.
Yeah, good look by Carlson, getting over Bakari Kanate, who is not a small guy, 6'11". Also getting it over Devontae Fitzgerald, who's also 6'8", so good play by Carlson, getting the ball up and in.
On the floor for Minnesota, Kanate, Fitzgerald, Harris, Washington, and Hurt. So all five of those guys did not start. Washington for three. How about that?
Zay Washington, I'm not surprised he took that look. He's practically open on that right wing. Getting his first points of the day, first unofficial points of his career.
Elliott Kane responds quickly. The second three-point field goal for Concordia this evening. Now Washington again and cannot hit it.
Well, look good from here, just a little bit too much strength on that off the back of the rim and out.
Eight and a half minutes left in the second half. Washington nearly poked it away from Newsom, but he is called. There's Isaiah Washington. To be named Mr. Basketball in the basketball capital of the world is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I would say so. You got some very talented. You got Syracuse in the state of New York, and that's out on the East Coast that produces some great basketball players that go out to play in ACC schools.
Carlson for three.
And so it's very impressive for him to come out of that state being named the best basketball player. And for Minnesota to pick him up, that's a big get for Richard Pitino.
Jordan Murphy with the dunk.
I know we've seen some big dunks from Murphy throughout his career, and it's definitely not going to be the last dunk we see from him this season.
Matthews against Harris. Harris, by the way, from New Jersey. So same area. Carlson tried to roll it in. And no foul called on anyone's part. Harris comes away with the ball. And they're letting him play.
Looks like they might have got away with a little bit of contact, but I like it. Keeping them playing. Keep the game going.
That is Matthews with 2 for Concordia. (36-19) Minnesota. The Gophers, the 15th ranked team in the country. Their first look in front of a real crowd. Murphy gets fouled. This is the 8th foul to be called against Concordia here this evening. And we will take a short pause before Murphy goes to the free throw line. 36-19 Gophers over Concordia. Back in a bit. It's a lead of 17 for Richard Pitino's Minnesota Gophers. We look ahead to what they've got coming up in this non-conference schedule. It's a exhibition game scrimmage against Green Bay on Sunday across the hallway at the Maturi Pavilion under the same roof, and then a very tough non-conference schedule to come towards the end of November. Jordan Murphy shooting for Minnesota, misses his first. And misses the second as well. The thing Concordia wanted to work on today is playing a clean ball game. And so far, the staggering stat, Minnesota 7 points off turnovers from Concordia.
Yeah, they've had already 6. Minnesota's only given up only 1 turnover. Concordia 6 turnovers. Has resulted in 7 points today so far for the Gophers. And Minnesota has only given up, like I said, 1 turnover. They have no points off turnovers. So Minnesota doing really good job on taking advantage of these turnovers from the Golden Bears.
Brandon McRoy missing a 3. Mason coming all the way around from the top. Now Mason for 3. Bounces above and over.
It was a good look for Mason. Minnesota had good ball movement. They went inside, moved it around, and kicked it outside.
Elliott Kane. He's now got 6 points this evening.
Well, we saw on the other side, Mason was unsuccessful, but Kane went on the other side and hit his shot from the corner. Cut Minnesota's lead to 14.
Been about 2.5 minutes since the Gophers have scored. Brendan Matthews now for Concordia St. Paul, cutting the Gophers' lead to just 12.
And I think a big reason right now to why Minnesota has been limited to no points in almost 3 minutes is Concordia's really kind of tightened up their defense underneath. They have really shut off a lot of lanes, not getting a lot of good lanes for Minnesota, and are posting up strong to some of their big players like Jordan Murphy, who gets through and finally scores for the Gophers.
Ends a scoring drought of 3 minutes for Minnesota. So Gaston Jeju now into the game for the Gophers. 6'10", 245 from Senegal. How about this shot from Max Keefe? There's Keefe, number 32 from Germantown, Wisconsin.
And so far the Golden Bears have been doing better from beyond the arc in this first half. They're shooting 5 for 10 from three-pointers. Minnesota just 2 for 7, now 3 for 8.
Amir Coffey. And we go the other way. 41-27. Minnesota is ahead of Concordia. We'll be back in just a few moments after this media timeout. 4 minutes to go in the opening half in this exhibition play. Concordia St. Paul, coached by Joey James in his 4th season, and we take a look at what they've got coming up on their slate before they begin the Northern Sun season. They go to Arkansas to play 2 teams down there, return to the Twin Cities to play North Central, and then 2 more exhibitions against a few D1 opponents, beginning with Milwaukee.
Yeah, a lot more experience there. I mean, of course, not as good as Minnesota, but Milwaukee and Elon are still Division I opponents. Still good exposure for these teams to get them ready for that Northern Sun season later in the year.
If it has not changed, too, Milwaukee would be hosting that tournament, the Black and Gold tournament at the Mecca, as they used to call it in Milwaukee. That's at least where they always did play. Don't quote me on that.
I'm not the one to confirm that either.
Nice old arena, though. They used to be home of the Bucks. Speaking of nice old arenas, here at Williams Arena.
They can't do better than Williams Arena. I mean, 1927, I believe, is when this facility was built. That's about 90 years.
It's exactly 90 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Carlson from the line has it short to be rebounded by Murphy. So again, Concordia, Joey James was not unrealistic with this game. Asked him about, if he needs me to, anything that he wants me to focus on with his team on the broadcast. And he said, well, you can do me one favor. I said, what is it? He goes, get Reggie Lynch in a Bears uniform tomorrow. Here's Mason for 3. Banks it back. I thought that was pretty good.
I think that's
Unfortunately, I couldn't do it for him.
Very, very unrealistic. But I mean, he's it's all in good fun. He knows he's coming in here, playing, the 15th best team in the country. A team that competes in the Big Ten, one of the best conferences in college basketball. And certainly Reggie Lynch is by far one of the best players on this Gopher basketball team. And not surprised he made that comment.
McBrayer now. Nice pass to Murphy, who finishes it off.
Behind the back, I believe it was. Right to Murphy, right to his hands. And he was being guarded, too, underneath, and still able to get it to him. Murphy, easy layup, putting Minnesota now back up by 16.
Jeju with the foul. Reaching across. We saw Jeju in 4 games last year. He now subs out for Lynch. So far, Lynch only 1 personal foul. Cody Carlson from Duluth, Minnesota. Told he's a Gophers fan. Grew up rooting for this Gophers program.
Well, what's not better coming back or playing on the court of your favorite team, or at least your favorite college basketball team. Nothing better than that, playing at Williams Arena.
So now Lynch, he will get a look.
Yeah, Lynch, you're saying only 1 personal foul. Very good for him, a player who got into foul trouble quite a bit last year, but also is kind of slow on getting points today. Only 4 so far here in this first half.
Again, the program record for blocks in a season last year. And he had 8.4 points per game, rolling this in.
I know you were discussing earlier, too, if they could bump that average up, to 10 to 12 points game, he can be even more deadly, a more versatile and efficient weapon on this Minnesota roster. And I think that comes into play if you limit your fouls.
Coffey to McBrayer. How about that now?
I mean, it was an odd, as you would say in hockey, it was an odd man rush down the court. But Amir Coffey making a nice pass to McBrayer and finishing it off.
McBrayer takes it away. McBrayer and Murphy combining. McBrayer's got it. 48 now for the Gophers.
High scoring half, and no surprise here. McBrayer getting the nice layup for an alley-oop from Nate Mason. Nice play by both Gophers.
Brought in by Matthews. Gophers lead by 18.
Such quick ball movement around the key for the Gophers.
Jordan Murphy with the dunk. He's got 16 points this evening.
Makes it so hard for this Concordia defense to keep up. And it shows there. And Minnesota now up by 20.
Couple of shots here for Concordia.
Tino looks a little frustrated at Lynch on the court side. Not happy about Lynch's positioning on that play, allowing a Concordia player to break through and almost get the putback.
Newsome. Shot taken from afar by Matthews. 21 seconds left in the half. It's been an impressive first half for the Gophers, and Concordia has actually been playing decent as well. You said they've been doing well beyond the arc. What else do you see? Real quick.
Well, they're doing well getting inside, and they're getting putbacks, and just recently they've tightened up on defense and stopping and limiting those lanes for the Gophers.
Murphy, he will finish the half with 18 points. And the Gophers lead by 22. It is exhibition action between Concordia St. Paul and the Minnesota Golden Gophers. The Gophers, the 15th ranked team in the country, looking all right. At half, Zach Marin will catch up with Ben Johnson, the assistant coach, and we will bring that to you when we come back in about 15 minutes from Williams Arena in Minneapolis. Well, back to work in the second half. There's Jordan Murphy for the Gophers, 18 points in the opening half. He was very impressive, and Jake, 2 rebounds away from a double-double.
Yeah, like you said, 18 points in the first half. He was 7 or 8 from the field. Minnesota had 32 points in the paint in the first half, and he had 14 of those. Did a great job getting inside, getting aggressive, showing his speed, showing his strength, getting the ball up and getting it in. And he's been doing a great job, and now he has 8 rebounds, just 2 from a double-double, like you said.
Coffey hits a 3 to get us started in the second. So in the first half, we didn't see too much of the Gophers outside the paint, to be honest. Only 11 of their 35 shots taken from anywhere other than that inner arc. Coffey with another look, and he can't hit this one. Murphy comes away with it. The offensive rebounding game has been strong for the Gophers today.
Yeah, they're out rebounding total rebounds, the Golden Bears, 24-16, but their points off offensive rebounds are 14 points in the first half compared to
Reggie
Concordia.
Lynch with a statement.
Huge dunk by Reggie Lynch. I'm just sitting here, and he just shows his power underneath, and there was no way anyone was stopping him.
Lynch called for the foul. It was Carlson to try to go up for the points. 27-point lead for Minnesota. Carlson was at the line for 3 free throws in the first half. Hit one of them. Now made one for 4. It's good to see the barnyard animals are in full force just on those free throws. We're going to look at them next time Concordia's at the line.
Yeah, showing their home court advantage here in Minneapolis.
Yes, Mason now for 3. The Gophers 2 3-point shots made in the second half already.
Yeah, much improved already from the first half.
Spreading it out a little bit.
Yeah, Golden Bears outshot them from beyond the arc in the first half. Now the Gophers showing off their skills from beyond the arc. They do have some shooters.
Matthews. Made my voice crack.
Well, he's doing a great job today for the Golden Bears, the best leading scorer on the team with 16. 2 for 3 from the three-point line.
Another one for Mason. What a start in the second half for the Gophers.
Nate Mason did not hit a three-pointer in the first half. Now is already 2 for 2 in this half. 15 points. Three Gophers are now in the double figures, including Murphy and Coffey.
Reggie Lynch with a block. Concordia holds on.
There was no way that ball was getting through.
So,
oh.
How about another one from Lynch? The Gophers on fire in the second half.
Reggie Lynch getting the big block and causing the turnover, and Minnesota gets it back, and Lynch goes the other way and gets another dunk. And he now has 9 points.
65-34, the Gophers ahead of Concordia St. Paul. Reggie Lynch looking good too. .31 points is the Gophers' lead. Brendan Matthews has been the player to watch so far today for Concordia St. Paul. You see 16 points, only 1 rebound though. He was 5th most in the Northern Sun Conference last year with 237 total. But overall, a pretty good day leading his team 16 against the Minnesota Gophers.
Yeah, the Eagan, Minnesota native. Definitely an all-around good player for this Golden Bears team. Put up some amazing numbers last year for the Golden Bears and doing well today.
32.5 minutes per game last year for Matthews. He's been in it for pretty much this entire game so far. Again, a lot of hometown kids in this game for Concordia. Of course, they're from St. Paul, so not much travel time for them on their way to this one. Jordan Murphy's led the Gophers, 2 more onto his line.
There's really no chance for Ahmad Newsome underneath for the Golden Bears to take on Jordan Murphy with that strength.
This is poked out of bounds by Concordia. 7-0 run for the Gophers in the last minute and a half or so. And with that, just moments ago, Murphy got credited for the rebound, so he now hits a double-double. 20 points and 10 rebounds on his day. And now Murphy dunking it in.
Sticking with the play, beating on all their defenders, getting up there and slamming it in for Minnesota, putting them up 35 points. Couldn't say it there, it was just such a large lead.
To Carlson. Just a bit too much on it. Nate Mason for 3, bounces, and goes out. Your thoughts, Jake, on the speed of the game today between these two?
Well, I mean, at the first, Minnesota has really taken, the momentum in this one most of the game. You saw near the end of the first half that the Golden Bears kind of tightened up on defense, limiting Minnesota's chances, but Minnesota has really controlled most of this game.
69-34, the Gophers lead over Concordia St. Paul. The Minnesota Gophers ranked 15th in the country in this exhibition game to get started in front of a crowd. Richard Pitino is their head coach in his 5th season. The 2017 Big Ten Coach of the Year, and what a year it was, his first NCAA tournament last year at the helm of this program.
Yeah, that's a good thing now for Richard, have a tournament under his belt, get into the tournament, get those first-time jitters off your back. They were the 5th seed, winning and lost to a very good Middle Tennessee State team who was the 12th seed. But
McBrayer for 3. This one misdirected a bit.
But to finish my thought, obviously looking to capitalize on their season from a year ago. Obviously, they have goals to not only make the tournament again, but make a deeper run than just one game.
So Mason checks out of the game. Avon Ward on his way up from Kansas City, Missouri. Konate comes up with a rebound. Konate now 7 minutes played, his first rebound to get on the stat sheet, but no fouls yet. That's a bit improved from the last time he played in a scrimmage, fouling out in the first 12 minutes of play for him.
And we've seen that a lot. That scrimmage wasn't the only time we've seen him struggle. Last season in his time playing here, he's had trouble with the fouls, and he has to limit those in these games, especially knowing he's going to need to step up and be a versatile bench player for the Gophers.
Well, we're good. Nice effort by Brendan Matthews, the ovation from the crowd.
Just a little bit to the left of us.
You know who that hit was? The Gopher radio guys, like Mike Grimm and Spencer down there.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know they were even sitting down here.
Yeah, usually they're upstairs.
Usually they're up in the cheap seats.
Yeah, well, they got some action there.
So McBrayer will shoot. McBrayer's got 8 points now today. Hurt now into the game for the Gophers as well for Concordia. Weisenberg checks in. McBrayer just recovered, too, from a foot injury. Kept him out of a lot of the offseason. Should be 100% and ready to go now.
Well, he certainly looks like he's never even had a foot injury.
Nice pass in to Weisenberg. That came from Ward.
Weisenberg doing a good job getting inside, getting his first points of the day. Looks like an offensive foul on Michael Hurt. Be going the other way.
Ward defended by Washington. Washington was the last to touch.
See Konate and Washington both surrounding the Golden Bears guard. Washington showing his defensive skills.
Konate takes it away. Another turnover. Washington, there we go! That's what he's known for, man.
I almost can't speak. He just went right. He held the ball, cradled it in his hand, went right under the arm of the defender, and just so easy, smoothly into the basket.
Ward responding for 3.
I would say that silenced the crowd a little bit, but I think people are still kind of in shock by seeing that play from Washington.
The Jelly fam, we're going to see it again. And a foul is called.
Take a look at this one again. Right here. Ooh. Oh. Just cradling it with one arm underneath and just pouring it into the basket. It's definitely not a move I could do.
The free throw doesn't drop. Good passer, and he attacks the rim well. So far, we have not seen great free throw shooting. Ward now once again. So Ward with 2 threes in a row. 41 total points for Concordia. Ward is now up to 6.
I think they're going to award him with a
Was that just 2?
2.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. That
I
was
think,
2.
no, it looked like a 3 from here, but I saw on our stat sheet they're awarding with a 2. But it was close, but nonetheless, he has 2 back-to-back shots or baskets made for the Bears.
.31 lead for Minnesota.
Turnovers are costing the Golden Bears.
Fitzgerald from Washington.
I was just saying turnovers are killing the Bears, and Devontae Fitzgerald makes them want that one back. Just one of the few Gophers now getting up there for a dunk today, showing his speed and agility.
This one surely from 3 is not good for Ward. Fitzgerald once again.
2 dunks in a row now for Fitzgerald. He's showing his speed, showing his height, showing his strength. His first dunk just moments ago was from the right side. That one comes from the left. Putting Minnesota up now by 35 points.
Wiesenberg, Konate kept it clean. Still nothing for Concordia. Wiesenberg will get a 3rd try. And finally, Fitzgerald brings it in.
Not a lot of times you get 3 chances, and Wiesenberg has to sink that shot.
Konate finds the ball in his hands, and a foul is called. It is 76-41 Gophers. Here's Fitzgerald. Unbelievable in the second half. Almost to the halfway point in the second half. Joey James is the head coach of this Concordia program. James in his 4th season. Born into a military family, went to high school in Omaha, has been in the upper Midwest for a while. So said he still doesn't enjoy the cold weather, which is what we've been experiencing lately, but used to coach at South Dakota. Has been doing good so far against the Gophers today. They're down 35, but again, they came in with a realistic goal here of improving on what they're good at. And so far, he's got to be happy with his team. Here's Carlson into, who's this, Konate? Fitzgerald, rather, was the one on the foul.
But going off your point, I think coming in, being a Division II team who, you know, finished 2-20 in the Northern Sun last year, I think you definitely have to come in and look at positives that you can come out of this. And they're doing a good job. Some of these they have a young team, and they're doing a good job getting inside on this powerful Minnesota defense. Some of these tall, big players that are used to playing some amazing talent in the Big Ten, and they're doing a good job getting through.
Washington and Fitzgerald have been dynamite in the recent few minutes. Now we get a look at Jamir Harris from 3. Cannot bring it in or sink it in. He's from New Jersey. Same school where McBrayer went, the Patrick School, for some time. Brought out. Now Washington, he gets fouled.
You saw the no-look pass from Jamir Harris, feeding it to Isaiah Washington, who is fouled, so you have a chance to go get some points, go get those points back at the line. But good setup play by the 2 freshmen.
Jamir Harris, a three-point shooter, as we just saw a little bit ago. And Washington, again, famous for his jelly movement. Does hit that last free throw, and he hits another, so improved from his first time at the line.
Yeah, he started this game 0 for 4 from the line. Now hitting those 2 free throws. Getting a nice solid 2 points.
This is Matthews missing. Fitzgerald brings it. Again, the first time Fitzgerald has played in front of a real crowd. Washington drawing it. Ward is the one called for the foul against Washington.
I think you were saying,
as we talked about, Washington's brand, as he brings in here too, as we mentioned, again, 400,000 Instagram followers. Apparently, well, that is pretty impressive, you know, and he walks around this place. He's like a celebrity here on campus, and he hasn't even played in a real game yet.
that's just a huge get, though, for the Gophers. I mean, that brings so much exposure to this university. They are definitely going to be, I think, looked at, you know, not only they have such good talent, I think a lot of people are going to be watching them from a talent perspective, but I think a lot of people are going to tune into the Gophers this year, Gopher fans and general college basketball fans alike, and are going to just tune in to see, just to watch this kid play and to try to see this jelly move that we just saw moments ago.
Goes out wide to Fitzgerald. He's got 3. Fitzgerald has looked great in this half.
Yeah, Fitzgerald only 2 points in that first half. He's now scored 7. He's done well.
A shot for 3 for Kane, bouncing back. Washington out to Harris. The three-point shooter. Can't hit this one. Still looking for his first points today. And a foul called against Concordia, Ahmad Newsome.
Newsome's second foul of the day. Among already a few players with 2 or more fouls in this game. But no one really in foul trouble. Only person in big foul trouble right now is Ward for the Bears with 4 personal fouls on the day.
Kanate hit by Carlson as he was underneath the net.
And you touched on this earlier, Kanate doing a good job today, not only offensively getting underneath, but he has no personal fouls recorded.
Harris for 3 this time. He's got it.
And we've seen him almost hit those shots his last few attempts, and he finally gets one to go, getting his first points.
It is Newsome. Out to Carlson once again. Carlson, 11 points this evening.
And that's one thing I can say that Concordia is doing well today is they're getting good looks as the game has gone on. They've been able to get looks and get good shots.
Washington showing off here. Out to Fitzgerald for 3. Shot wide. Eight and a half left in this ball game between Concordia and Minnesota. Newsome left all alone, and he hits a 3 easily. A little bit of a lapse in defense.
Well, a guy who is one of the veterans on this team, played in all 31 games last year. You can't leave him wide open like that.
Konate. Can the third time be the charm? How about 4? Eventually poked out by the Golden Bears.
I mean, a great effort underneath for Bakari Konate to try to put it back, but you got to finish that. You're not going to get 4 chances in Big Ten play. It's just not going to happen. And so you got to try to finish on the first, if not the second time.
Now Harris dribbling in. And he is fouled. So we pause, 84-48, Minnesota ahead of Concordia. When we come back, Zach Marin has a hit on what we're going to have this upcoming Sunday across the hall. Back in Minnesota, Zach Marin is with us.
Minnesota has a unique opportunity to give back this Sunday when they host University of Wisconsin Green Bay for an exhibition matchup to support hurricane relief in Puerto Rico. Now, this program has a special connection with the U.S. territory by playing there twice so far under the era of Richard Pitino, who, by the way, is donating $1 for every ticket sold for this Sunday night's matchup. It will also be a unique game as it is going to be held at the Maturi Pavilion rather than right here in Williams Arena. This should be a great opportunity to get more game action under Minnesota's belt for an even better cause. Ryan?
Thank you, Zach Marin. The Maturi Pavilion, this, to our knowledge, is the first time ever the Gophers men's basketball team has played there. The women used to play there in this sport, but we believe that that's the first time the men ever have. And that's Sunday.
That'll be an interesting atmosphere in there. I know that we have done games in there.
Volleyball.
On volleyball for Big Ten Network, student broadcast, and it has got loud in there. So it'll be interesting if they can sell it out, that exhibition game, and be a different and unique atmosphere for basketball.
This is Wiesenberg with 2 for Concordia.
Nice fit inside to Wiesenberg and finish it off. Getting over the big Minnesota to forward underneath and kissing it off the glass.
Now it's Isaiah Washington. He pulls up. Jeju with the rebound. Washington, an no-look pass into Hurt. And Hurt eventually is able to put up 2.
Hurt capitalizing off his second chance opportunity. Minnesota has been doing a fantastic job this game on second chance points. 23 second chance points to Golden Bears 0.
Now it's Matthews. And Elliott Kane travels for another turnover. That'll be the 16th of the day for this Concordia team.
And it has really come back. They've been really costly today for the Golden Bears. 20 points off turnovers for the Gophers.
This is Kane with the foul. So now he has, he's got 3. Ward and Carlson each have 4. Those are the ones in trouble. Wiesenberg also, but there's only 6.5 minutes to go.
It's nice to see on the other side, no one really in foul trouble for the Gophers other than Devontae Fitzgerald has 3 personal fouls, but people like Kanate, who has struggled, has no personal fouls.
Wiesenberg got touched. That is Harris with his first foul. Wiesenberg at the line, started his career with the NDSU Bison. Described as a real bull by his coach, Joey James. Says what he does not appear on the stat sheet. A lot of the more intangible things a big guy up near the basket can do. 6'6", 215. It's good size for the Northern Sun.
Well, he's done well getting into the penetrating this Minnesota defense, getting inside, getting some looks, showing great potential, and as the coach James said, he is acting like kind of like a bull underneath.
Harris to Jeju. And a block called against Concordia. That is going to be Kane. His 4th.
Golden Bears getting into some serious foul trouble late on in this second half. 3 players now with 4, with Ward and Carlson.
(90-51) Gophers. Jeju has the first of a 1-and-1.
Gets his first points out the day after a nice friendly roll, as they call it.
Gophers bench was very animated and cheering him on for that one too.
But speaking of bench, Minnesota is doing amazing on bench points today. 26 points off the bench. Excuse me, 28.
Been using a lot of it too in this exhibition game. Avon Ward for 3. Washington. So close.
Just coming up short, moving on the right side, breaking through the defense, but cannot get that one in.
Out now for Ward, his 3. Bounces out and the Gophers will take over. Brady Rudrud now checks in for Minnesota. Fitzgerald, after a nice second half, comes out. That may or may not be the day for Fitzgerald, an impressive one, regardless.
Yeah, a good outing. I mean, to be out 2 seasons, it's hard to come back from that, even if you're technically 100% clear to play. But he's come out doing well today, showing speed, showing strength, getting some dunks, hitting a 3-pointer, proving he can be a good asset to this Gopher team.
Harris for 3, from a distance too.
Getting an NBA range 3 almost on that one, I would say. I know Richard Bettino, is excited about him specifically coming in and being a 3-point shooter for this Gophers squad. Not a lot of 3-point shooters on this team. You got Mason and Dupree McBrayer, but doesn't hurt to add more.
Young look to this Gophers team right now with the exception of Gaston Jeju. Jeju just keeps it in. Rudrud's all alone. He moves it in, and the ball is stripped away as the foul is called against Brandon McRoy.
Yeah, Brady Rudrud coming in. No surprise coming in the last 5 minutes of this game. Only saw action in 5 games last year. Finding a lane to the basket and getting fouled. Looking to get his point, get some points today from the line.
Eden Prairie High School product. 5 games of action last year. Now it's Ward. He airballs it over the net. Rudrud thought about it. This time he takes the shot. The Gophers bench completely got on their feet. Looking for a 3. Jeju sent to the ground.
Yeah, he went right over the back of Matthews. Looked like he landed kind of awkwardly, but he gets up.
Thankfully he gets up. The depth of the Gophers in that position, they cannot afford anything to happen.
No, I think Richard Bettino he probably won't show it, but he's probably hoping that nothing. Jeju gets up fine. They cannot afford another injury, especially losing Eric Curry just about a month before the season.
Newsom is touched by Washington. It is 97-51. The Gophers lead it over Concordia St. Paul. The finish of this one is coming up here on BTN Student U. Under 4 to go between Minnesota and Concordia from St. Paul. We are in Minneapolis at Williams Arena. Richard Pitino ready to go for his 5th season of work as the Gophers head coach, and finally he's got the team he's been telling us about. They're looking excellent as they're 15th in the country. We look forward to what this team can do, and Pitino, he's excited as well. He really likes what he sees.
Oh, yeah, and if I was a Minnesota fan, I would definitely be liking what you see on the court as well.
Yeah.
You got some great recruits coming in. You got some great recruits that are coming in this year, Jamir Harris and Isaiah Washington. You're returning some key players to this offense in this team that I highlighted on at the beginning of the game. You know, Nate Mason, Reggie Lynch, Jordan Murphy, some of these powerful players for the Gophers.
We'll see if Pitino keeps his jacket and tie on anymore this year.
I would be surprised if he goes through a whole season without loosening his tie and taking his jacket off.
Here's Washington once again. Well, a couple years ago, the Gophers didn't have a very good year, and you bring it up to him, he says, I'd rather we not talk about that anymore because that's in the past. But a lot of the Gopher fans just buckled in, and here they are now. Worked out.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were hoping for improvement, and improve they did last season from the year before.
Yes, sir.
You know, 8-23 2 years ago. I mean, that was one of the worst records and finishes in program history. And last year, they improved.
One of the best turnarounds.
One of the best turnarounds of program history, I should say, is improved by 16 wins, 24-10 last year, 11-7, finished 4th in the conference. And I think a lot of people knew they could improve. I think a lot of people were kind of surprised by that, but now heading into this year, they're very optimistic.
McRoy on the move, got fouled. That is Michael Hurt to be called, his second. Gophers looking for their 100th point of the day. So first it'll be McRoy at the line. Kanate back in, Jeju out. McRoy is from Chicago. Older brother played for Western Michigan. 2.5 minutes left. Here is Rudrud. Now Harris. And called against Rudrud.
It looks like it was an offensive foul coming against Minnesota. Not exactly sure who was against, but refs were pointing to the table. Looking like someone might have put a leg into a Golden Bears defender.
Harris ends up with the ball out to Rudrud. He'll go for 3 again. Hurt rebounds. Now to Harris. It is Washington with the offensive rebound. Rudrud with an NBA 3. That'll liven up the crowd. He finally hits one.
Well, I think the crowd was waiting for him to finally hit one too. They were so adamant and wanted him to hit that. Wanted the sophomore to
102 for Minnesota. And Concordia responds with Ward's 3.
That last 3 put Minnesota over 100 points.
Hunt Conroy now into the game. He gets a touch on the ball. Harris dribbling in. Harris now 12 today. That's the third most on his team.
Harris definitely improved here in this second half, knocking down some shots from beyond the arc and moving inside the lane and making some layups.
By the way, Hunt Conroy, number 13 for the Gophers. Now, pretty much everyone's gotten a look on the court. Everybody has, in fact. Here's Ward with a 3.
Well, and this is a good game to get everybody a look, especially when you're up by, 46 points. Get everybody on the court. Give them some time.
Kanate rolls it in. Conroy, the son of Ed Conroy, an assistant coach at this program. Stay tuned after this game. We'll talk with, I believe the rumor is Jordan Murphy.
I sure hope it'd be Jordan Murphy, leading Minnesota at 22 points, getting the double-double with 11 rebounds.
Your takeaways from what we've seen, Jake?
Well, I mean, even though Concordia is Division II, Minnesota showing some speed, showing some durability. The returners obviously doing well, but some of these new guys coming out here showing a lot of optimism for this team and looking like they could add a lot to this program, a lot of speed and up-tempo.
So it's an exhibition win for the Gophers. Will not count, but they beat Concordia St. Paul 106-58. An impressive showing for this Minnesota team. They're 15th in the country, and they look forward to seeing Green Bay in another exhibition on Sunday. Jordan Murphy led the team with 22 points. Harris had 12, Mason had 15 before he was taken out of the game. As again, Minnesota victorious over Concordia St. Paul. So in a moment, we will hear from Zach Marin with Jordan Murphy. He is standing by, and we will stay on the air until Murphy gets here and gets set up for the interview. Well, now he's on the other end of the court.
Got to sing his team rouser.
It's true.
Their big performance, big day for him, although it doesn't count. Still a good outing for him on the year, first outing for him.
Well, we're gonna keep watching Murphy. Seems blissfully unaware.
No, just giving some high fives to the fans, for all the fans and students that came out. Well deserved.
Again, Sunday will be their next action. That'll be over at the Maturi Pavilion, which is under this same roof, just across the way a bit, the volleyball stadium. It's Sunday against UW Green Bay. All proceeds of that will be going to hurricane relief in Puerto Rico, a place where the Gophers played at twice in Patino's era ahead of this team. Okay, now we got Murphy. There we go. We're going to send it to Zach Marin momentarily. He's been standing by. He's ready to go. Just a moment with Jordan Murphy after the Gophers come away with the victory.
I'm here with Jordan Murphy. Jordan with 22 points on tonight. How do you feel like your game went for you tonight?
I just think that my teammates did a good job finding me in the open spots and just making sure I got the ball when I needed to.
Looking forward into the start of the season, do you feel like your role changes now with the loss of Eric Curry?
I think I got to be smart with my fouls. Obviously, I'm going to be on the floor a lot more and get a lot more minutes, so me and Reggie just have to be smart about when we use our fouls.
And then finally, you guys are ranked 15th right now in the preseason poll. Does that give your team an extra proof of confidence mentally at all with the expectations so high?
I think that we just can't pay attention to that stuff. I mean, our guys are doing a good job working hard every day and getting in the gym when we need to, so I just think we can't pay attention to that stuff and just keep our expectations to ourselves.
We appreciate your time. Congrats on the win. Good luck the rest of the way.
Appreciate it.
Ryan?
Well, there you have it. It's Jordan Murphy with 22 points today and a Gopher victory. Everybody in this Williams Arena very happy with the result of tonight's exhibition action. For Jake and Zach, my name is Ryan Russell. Pleasure to be with you. The Gophers come away with a victory, 106-58 in exhibition action against Concordia St. Paul.